Sometimes we don't remember someone for how they left, but for what they left behind. Even when that last thing was never meant to exist. Today, we're going to talk about 3 unsettling cases. In all of them, the same thing happened. Someone died, and then a message arrived. The building was old, 3 floors, narrow hallways, walls that amplified every sound at night. She lived on the 3rd floor, in a small apartment she had shared for just over a year. She was 29 years old, an administrative assistant, reserved, methodical, very careful with her routine. She had been living with her partner for a little over a year. It was an ordinary weeknight. No visitors, no unusual noise. Nothing suggested this night would be any different. They had an argument. Nothing serious. One of those conversations left unfinished. She left the apartment, said she needed some air. She didn't take her bag. She didn't take her phone. Hours later, a neighbor heard a dull impact in the inner courtyard. She was found at dawn, a fall from the 3rd floor. Authorities classified it as an accident. No signs of a struggle, no witnesses. The phone appeared days later, under the couch, out of battery. 3 weeks later, her partner received a notification, a new voice message. The sender, her. The audio was 11 seconds long. At first, there was nothing, just ambient sound, a faint echo like an enclosed space. Then her voice, low, tense. "Who's there?" There was no reply, just a sudden movement, a brush of sound, a hard impact. The audio cut off immediately. Authorities reviewed the scene. No traces of another person in the building at that time. No reports of visitors. No voices heard in other apartments. No one seen leaving. Experts considered disorientation, a moment of confusion, even a brief hallucination. But there was one detail they could never explain: the fall. From that spot, it wasn't easy to fall accidentally. It wasn't a common angle. It wasn't an obvious misstep. According to reports, it would have required a push. But there was no struggle, no marks, no one else there. And yet she asked as if someone were standing right in front of her. He was 41 years old, a freelance accountant, meticulous, reserved, extremely punctual. He lived in a confined space, a small apartment inside a shared office building. During the day, the place was full of activity. At night, the building was almost empty. He often stayed after everyone left, working alone. One night, he never went home. His car was parked in the same spot as always, the keys still inside. He was found 2 days later, seated at his desk. No signs of violence. The official cause, a sudden cardiac event. Case closed. Weeks later, his email account was deactivated by the family. Everything was shut down. Until one early morning, his sister received an email. The subject read, "I forgot something." The body contained a single line, "Check the drawer you never opened." The sender was his account, an account already closed. The family searched the desk. They found a drawer that had always been locked. Inside, personal documents, an unfinished letter, and a flash drive no one recognized. On the drive, there were no financial files, no images, No backups. Only a single audio file. No name, no date. The recording began with the sound of a keyboard, keys pressed with precision, as if he were reviewing something, not typing. Then silence. A long silence, broken only by his breathing. Steady, controlled. At 7 minutes, his voice, low, measured. This shouldn't be here. Then, a chair slowly moving, the sound of fabric, weight shifting. His breathing changes, becomes irregular, deeper. A dull thud, like a body hitting the desk. Something falling to the floor. No scream, no final words. The file ends without closure. No sign of being stopped. Forensic analysts examined the drive. No metadata. The recording device couldn't be identified. The audio didn't match any microphone in the building, nor his personal computer. And most disturbing of all, the file had been created after the official time of his death. She was 52 years old, an elementary school teacher. Discreet, strict, very private about her personal life. She lived alone after a long, quiet divorce. She died after falling down the stairs in her home. The funeral was small, few friends, a handful of distant relatives. 1 week later, letters began to arrive, addressed to different people, former students, an old neighbor, even her ex-husband, all written in her handwriting. The contents weren't sentimental. They were reminders, incomplete thoughts, comments about moments no one else remembered. One letter mentioned a conversation that was never spoken aloud. Another referred to a mistake made years earlier, one that had never been confessed. The final letter arrived a month later. No name. Inside, a single sentence. I didn't fall. After that, there were no more. The family searched the house. No drafts, no similar envelopes. No one saw anyone delivering the letters. Possible explanations included letters written in advance and mailed later, intervention by someone close, extreme coincidence. But no one could explain how she anticipated the reactions of people who didn't yet know what they were about to remember when they read them.